Olá, pessoal, estamos ao vivo na plataforma de webinars do Embarcados. Obrigado a todos que se inscreveram para esse webinar, embarcados.com.br/webinars. Obrigado aí pela confiança de todos. Nós vamos trazer, então, conteúdo técnico para vocês aqui que trabalham com projetos de sistemas embarcados e IoT no dia a dia aí nas empresas. Gostaria de dar boa tarde aqui para o pessoal, falar para o pessoal interagir no chat. Estamos ao vivo para todo o Brasil, agora, aqui, 3 horas, horário de Brasília. Hoje nós trazemos aqui uma apresentação da Microchip, junto com o pessoal da Artmar, para falar sobre microprocessadores de 32 bits, suas principais aplicações no mercado brasileiro e como a Microchip pode contribuir para o seu design. Então a gente vai falar muito de projeto de utilizando microprocessadores de 32 bits, hoje, tá? Inclusive, durante essa apresentação, vai ser falado bastante sobre os MPUs da Microchip e do System Package e System on Module, tá? Então, toda a apresentação de Brian, que é Product Marketing Manager da Microchip, ele vai girar em torno dessas soluções de hardware, né? Então, a gente vai trazer também aqui alguns produtos, né, que tem DRAM integrada, então vocês vão ver durante a apresentação. Gostaria de agradecer bastante o Brian aí, que ele preparou essa apresentação exclusiva para a gente aqui no Brasil, né, para rodar aqui na plataforma do Embarcados, tá joia? Então, deixa eu falar para vocês como é que vai ser a dinâmica. Nós trouxemos o Brian, mas também vai participar da apresentação o Rogério Nunes, que é da Artmar, né? Ele é engenheiro de aplicação e ele também preparou aí uma introdução para vocês sobre esse tema. Tá bom, pessoal? Então vamos lá, é hora do show. Vamos chamar então para a sala o Brian. Brian, please introduce yourself to Brazil.
Hello, my name is Brian Hahn. I'm with Microchip's Microprocessor Business Unit, Product Marketing. I'm here to answer any questions that you might have after the webinar. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brian. O Brian está ao vivo, pessoal, então, aqui para responder a todas as perguntas de vocês. Ele é Marketing Manager da Microchip e foi uma satisfação muito grande poder recebê-lo aqui pela primeira vez no Embarcados. Thank you very much for your time, Brian. It's an honor to receive you here today to answer the questions of the Brazilian audience. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pessoal, eu vou chamar então para a sala o Rogério Nunes. Rogério, come to the room, please. Introduce yourself. Apresente você.
Olá, Thiago. Olá a todos. Muito obrigado pela participação e interesse. Antes da apresentação do Brian, que é o especialista de microprocessadores do portfólio da Microchip, farei uma breve introdução falando um pouco da Artmar e da Microchip.
É isso aí, Rogério. É com você agora, então. Boa apresentação.
Obrigado. Falar um pouco do perfil da empresa Artmar. Ela é uma empresa focada em criação de demanda desde 1962. Ela está há 60 anos no mercado. Durante toda a história, aconteceram mais de 20 aquisições. Durante todos esses anos, foi construído uma base de 6.000 clientes ativos, mais de 100 clientes focos, e a Artmar trabalha em parceria com distribuidores globais, locais, catalog houses e também atende clientes diretos. Aqui é para ter uma ideia da área de cobertura da Artmar. A Artmar atende todo o território brasileiro, tem um escritório em São Paulo, tem gerente de vendas que atende por região, os clientes espalhados pelo território. Também temos um gerente de vendas localizado em Buenos Aires. Ele atende todos os clientes dos países de língua espanhola, localizados nessa região. E os principais clientes estão localizados em Brasil, Colômbia e Argentina. Atualmente, o line card da Artmar é Microchip, Kemet, Yagel, Cri, Coicraft. A Artmar é representante exclusivo na América do Sul e Central desses importantes fabricantes. Falar um pouco da Microchip. A Microchip é uma organização global, tem aproximadamente 21 mil funcionários, que atende mais de 120 mil clientes ao redor do mundo. Tem escritórios espalhados em América, Europa, Oriente Médio, Ásia e África. E o ano fiscal de 2022, a Microchip teve uma receita de 6,8 bilhões de dólares. Só para destacar, a Microchip tem um portfólio muito extenso, né? Provavelmente você vai encontrar várias opções de componentes de semicondutores para utilizar em seus projetos. Eles podem ser para aplicação automotiva, industrial, de consumo, de comunicações, de computação, aeroespacial e defesa. Você vai encontrar mais de 20 linhas de produtos, microcontroladores de 8, 16, 32, microprocessadores, produtos analógicos, produtos de mixed signal, produtos de interface, memória, produtos de gerenciamento de energia, chaves, controladores, produtos discretos de alta confiabilidade, FPGA. No total, tem mais de 100 mil produtos no portfólio da Microchip. Só para, no caso da sua decisão, o que utilizar um microprocessador ou um microcontrolador para o seu projeto, você vai buscar a utilização dos microprocessadores buscando as vantagens de ter uma maior performance para aplicações gráficas, de computação, altamente escalável, capaz de aumentar performance e memória. Ele suporta interfaces de comunicação de alta velocidade simultâneas, tem suporte completo ao Linux e maior quantidade de I/Os. Qual é a estratégia da Microchip para a linha de produtos microprocessadores? O investimento da Microchip é buscar sempre aumentar a performance, reduzir a curva de aprendizagem e reduzir o risco do seu projeto. E isso é feito de qual forma? Com a estratégia de integração para facilitar a utilização. Você vai conseguir encontrar as versões System Package, que são os microprocessadores com DRAM integrado, e System Modules, SOM, que são modos de microprocessadores prontos para produção. E todos os produtos seguem a prática da Microchip de longa duração, né? Dificilmente você vai encontrar OL de produtos da Microchip, de microprocessadores, e também tem suporte nas ferramentas de Linux e ARM. E agora fazer a apresentação do Brian. O Brian vai ser o responsável por esse treinamento. Ele é o gerente de marketing de produtos e gerente de desenvolvimento de negócios da unidade de negócio de microprocessadores de 32 bits da Microchip nos últimos 5 anos. Ele tem mais de 30 anos de experiência na indústria de semicondutores. Ele também já trabalhou como Product Market Manager nas linhas de produtos de memória flash, microcontroladores e MOSFET. E, por favor, Thiago, poderia dar início ao treinamento?
Sim, vamos nessa. Pessoal, então, uma apresentação aqui exclusiva do Brian, tá? Com legenda para vocês. Vamos começar o vídeo. Vamos lá, um bom vídeo para todos.
Hi, my name is Brian Hahn, and I'm a product marketing manager from Microchip's microprocessor business unit. Today I'm going to share a bit with you about our microprocessor portfolio and how we can help you bring products into production quicker and keep them in production longer. Those of you that don't know, Microchip acquired Atmel back in 2016. That's where our microprocessor products came from. So the products we're talking about are ARM9 and Cortex-A5 based applications processors. And one of Microchip's strongest value adds over the years has been our customer-driven obsolescence practice, which means we keep products in production for as long as customers are using those products, not by some predefined obsolescence plan when we first introduced those products. So this applies to the microprocessor products as well, both in terms of hardware support, with some legacy MPU products having been in production for more than 20 years, and also on the software side, represented by our mainline Linux support since 2004. So the MPU products are a good path forward for Microchip's very large portfolio of 32-bit microcontroller products as well. So for those customers using 32-bit microcontrollers looking for a bit more or enhanced security, or to access larger, higher performance memories, or going off-chip for memory for communications and or graphics buffering space, moving to a microprocessor may make more sense. However, migrating from a microcontroller to a microprocessor does complicate the hardware design a bit with a bit more complex power management and external high-speed memory, most often DRAM. Microchip has been doing as much as we can to simplify the MPU hardware design. So one of the most common technical support issues over the years has been DRAM routing. To solve this issue, we introduced our System in Package products, which is an MPU with integrated DRAM. In this case, we've done all of the heavy lifting with the DRAM routing inside the package, so you don't have to worry about it outside of the package. This makes for a much more compact design, and in some cases, we can even fit the MPU and the DRAM into the same size package as the discrete microprocessor, and then allow you to place that BGA package onto a 4-layer PCB, ultimately lowering your overall board cost as well. So the compact layout with short traces inside the package also makes for a much more robust solution with respect to EMI radiation. The SIP solution also removes issues related to DRAM, like price fluctuations, availability, and last-minute software changes that arise from having to change to a different DRAM at the last minute right before production. So we also introduced a couple of years ago our first MPU system on modules, or MPU SOMs. These include the microprocessor, memory, both DRAM and in more recent cases the non-volatile storage for the OS or application, the power management and connectivity as well, most often an Ethernet PHY. All you need to do is place the single-sided solderable PCB down onto your carrier board and apply 3.3 volts and you're up and running. So the industrial grade module falls under Microchip's long-term support practice as well, so it's going to be available for the foreseeable future. So complete with Microchip's mainline Linux support out of the box, you can get your next Linux project up and running into the market very quickly. We also provide the complete design files. So as a result of providing those design files, we can provide a safe and flexible upgrade path to lower costs. In this case, our MPU SOMs can be used for proof of concept, pre-production, all the way up through low to medium volume production. If the volume grows, you can use the design files for the SOM to make that SOM, to basically build the SOM directly onto your carrier board, all the while maintaining the value of the MPU SIP with a simplified 4-layer PCB design and still eliminate DRAM supply issues. And if you so choose, you can completely cost optimize the solution by going to a chip down PCB design with the discrete MPU plus discrete DRAM, all the while utilizing Microchip's free online schematic review services called MPU Check. Let's now talk a little bit about the security features of our microprocessors. First off, all of our current generation microprocessor products have some level of security features. Most include secure boot and hardware crypto capabilities and some form of onboard key storage. In addition, overall, we have a very long track record of selling our secure MPUs and ASICs into the highly secure products like point of sale modules. So most notably, we're on our 4th generation MPU with one of the largest POS vendors in the world. And to date, we've shipped more than 200 million MPUs into those POS terminals worldwide. We also have devices in our portfolio that are fully payment card industry or PCI pre-certified. What this means is the security features of those products have been verified by a third party that the security features included actually meet the security requirements for the financial payment industry. These features include secure boot and on-chip key storage for immutable ID, protection against physical attacks with hardware anti-tamper capabilities, hardware crypto acceleration and FIPS compliant true random number generator,
along with NIST certification and ARM trust zone support for essentially partitioning your secure processes from non-secure processes all on the same chip. These features are also fully supported within our mainline Linux support, and the security updates for those are implemented for the full life cycle of those products. So why am I talking about the point of sale market and the security features on our products? Those same security features are available to any market. Those same security features can apply to markets outside of the payment industry. So Microchip is also a leader in providing low power consumption with our MPU products. So we provide MPUs with similar low power features and flexible low power modes to those you'd normally see with a microcontroller product. As always, power consumption for a microprocessor is a trade-off between low power consumption and wake-up time. So the most power efficient Cortex-A based microprocessors is on the Cortex-A5, and we support backup currents lower than 1.4 microamps, as evidenced on the SAM-A5 D31, which is the lowest power consumption microprocessor in the family. The ARM 926 based SAM960 on the left side of this chart is both our lowest cost Linux capable MPU as well as the lowest dynamic power consumption at just under 125 milliwatts running at 600 megahertz. So on the software side, as we previously discussed, all of our MPUs are supported by Microchip's mainline Linux, developed and supported in-house. It's completely maintained by Microchip's Linux experts, and we regularly update all of our MPU platforms or the distributions for our MPU platforms to the latest LTS Linux kernels released twice a year. We'll talk more about that in a minute. So our MPUs are also supported by Microchip's bare metal RTOS development ecosystem called MPLab. So MPLab provides a seamless migration from a low-cost Cortex M0 Plus all the way up through a Cortex-A applications processor, all within the same tool chain. So there are also free GUI development frameworks for both bare metal RTOS as well as Linux. So MPLab Harmony Graphics Suite runs in MPLab ecosystem, supporting graphics development for bare metal RTOS designs, and Ensemble Graphics Toolkit provides GUI development support for embedded Linux applications. Both are available completely free of charge for both development and production, and we'll talk more about those in a few minutes. First, I wanted to talk a little bit more about Microchip's Linux support. So Microchip has been committed to mainline Linux for the better part of the last 20 years. So much so that we have an internal team that's sole responsibility is to develop and support the Linux software efforts for Microchip's MPU products. We also have an in-house maintainer that ensures our Linux distributions are always based on the latest mainline Linux kernel release, and all of our updates and patches and fixes to our systems also get rolled back into that mainline Linux kernel release to be carried forward. So we provide true long-term support through our mainline Linux process by targeting the twice annual LTS Linux kernel releases for our Linux for SAM or Linux for Microchip distribution updates. We do this for all of our current production MPU platforms, which is important because Microchip does not really EOL microprocessor platforms. In fact, we have customers that are building designs and have been in production with that RM9200, which is, if you remember from the first slide, was all the way down on the left-hand side, introduced in 2002. Those customers are continuing in production today and can roll new products based on that same hardware, based on that same processor on the latest Linux kernel. So our mainline Linux distributions, mainline kernel support also includes U-boot and 1891 Bootstrap bootloaders for the most commonly used build systems like Yocto, Buildroot, and OpenWRT. To date, we've shipped more than 200 million devices, all based on the mainline Linux. So before we move on, I'd like to share an example of a recent success story that kind of exemplifies the point of why mainline Linux is so important. So we had an opportunity a while back that we initially lost to a lower cost competitor. That competitor provided a mainline Linux distribution for that platform, but it was not maintained. So it was based on a Linux kernel that wasn't maintained. So In order to take advantage of some of the newest peripherals and libraries the client needed for their design, they needed to first port that Linux that was provided by that manufacturer to the latest Linux kernel. This ended up taking them about 6 months longer than expected, forcing them to delay their product launch. In addition, since they did the port themselves, the Linux distribution was now specific to their product. This meant that they were now tasked with keeping it up to date for not only the lifetime of this product, but also for any derivatives. After the project was completed, they discovered that the low-cost MPU did not meet their performance expectations and they needed another solution. So at this point, Microchip was able to step in and provide a solution based on one of our mainline Linux distributions, including the bootloaders, which ultimately took another 6 months to complete. In the end, the client missed out on a year's worth of revenue because they decided to go with the lower cost MPU solution. So make sure you understand the true cost of ownership of a particular solution, as it can be much more significant than purely BOM cost. So where do you find all the Linux support for our microprocessors? So on our Linux for SAM wiki, you'll find all precompiled SD card images and build instructions for the most popular build systems, as we discussed, Yocto, Buildroot, and OpenWRT. They can all be found on our Linux for SAM or Linux for Microchip distribution websites. On this site, you'll find regular posted Microchip Linux releases and updates, including mainline kernel support for all current production Microchip processors, including U-boot and 1891 Bootstrap bootloaders. All of these are based on the mainline Linux, as well as driver support for Microchip companion ICs. You'll also find links to FAQs and forums to help get answers to your more common questions. Last, you'll also find links to various training resources like our Microchip support site, as well as the Microchip University courses that can help you keep your design moving in the right direction. So on the bare metal and RTOS side, as we previously discussed, our MPUs are supported within the MPLAB ecosystem, and in particular, MPLAB Harmony 3 framework. This is the same 32-bit software framework used for all of Microchip's 32-bit microcontroller products. So if you're currently on a 32-bit microcontroller platform looking for enhanced security or in need of more and or faster memory for graphics and communications buffering, MPLAB Harmony can also be used for our MPU devices. And the MPUs are actually intended to operate out of those faster, higher density memories. So our MPUs are supported also by MPLAB X, the IDE, the Integrated Development Environment, as part of the MPLAB ecosystem, Harmony 3, as well as the XC32 compiler, as well as Microchip's debuggers like ICD4 and the ICE4. So MPLAB Harmony also provides support for third-party RTOSes like FreeRTOS, Mbed, and Azure RTOS, which also spans to the microprocessor products. So now let's talk a little bit about the actual microprocessor product portfolio. So on the left-hand side of this chart, you'll see the products in green here. These are SAM9X60, SAM9X75 are both ARM926 based microprocessors. It is a new ARM926 based processor. It's running on a 40 nanometer, a relatively new 40 nanometer process that's going to be around for a long time. It provides a path forward for a lot of legacy ARM9 designs that are still running today in very high volumes. We've pushed on the SAM9X60, we pushed that ARM9 performance up to 600 megahertz. We've added secure boot capabilities, hardware crypto capabilities, as well as 2D hardware acceleration for graphics. We've added some digital audio support and I2S digital audio inputs. There's dual Ethernet capabilities on this. We've brought in quad SPI support, and then we've also provided system and package options on this device as well for both RTOS and bare metal with the 64 megabit SDRAM integrated into the package, and it's a very small 11 by 11 BGA package. And then we also have the entry-level Linux products in SIPs with a 512 megabit and 1 gigabit DDR2. There's also a SOM. This is our smallest, lowest cost MPU system on module based on the SAM 9X60 with 1 gigabit of DDR2 in a very small castellated PCB, similar to similar to the other SOMs that we were talking about earlier. And then we have the 9X75 is a new product we just released to production this past March. So we push the performance up to 800 megahertz and bring in the MIPI and LVDS display interface, as well as a gigabit Ethernet. The workhorse products here in the blue in the middle, these are our Cortex A5 based processors. Some of these devices are fully PCI or payment card industry compliant devices. They support up to DDR3L memory. There's some devices with dual Ethernet, gigabit Ethernet available as well. Lots of I/O, CAN, USB, quad SPI support. There are system and package variants on the SAM A5D2 from 128 megabit up to 2 gigabits of LPDDR2, so for very low power applications, as well as a couple of system on modules. One is a wired connectivity or Ethernet connectivity, the SOM1 module, and then the wireless SOM has a Wi-Fi BLE module also from Microchip on board. And then there are a couple of other variants of the SAM A5 family in the D3 with gigabit Ethernet, and then the D4 that has a little bit higher performance, and then also includes a 720p video decode capability and dual Ethernet. The SAM A5 D29 here on the bottom is essentially the SAM A5 D2 with a fully compliant CAN FD ports, or 2 fully compliant CAN FD ports, and Ethernet 1588 support. There's also a system and package variant on the SAM A5 D29 that brings in a security authentication IC called the TA100. And then on the right side, the highest performing product in the portfolio is our SAM A7G54. It is intended for imaging, connectivity, and audio applications. It is the first product introduced by Microchip in the microcontroller or microprocessor range that has a MIPI camera input. Also dual Ethernet, 1 gigabit, 110/100 port. Lots of ways to get audio into and out of the device, and also has an onboard 4 stereo channel or 8 channel sample rate converter. And then 6 CAN FD ports, USB, both quad SPI and octal SPI support. Lots of I/O, and then there are system and package options rolling out later this year in late 2023, and a system on module also coming out late 2023. And with respect to the AEC-Q100 qualification for automotive, there will be variants of all of these product families that have automotive grade 2 support. Now let's talk a little bit about where clients are designing our products in. So, by and far, it's focused on low power, low to medium range graphics, meaning 5 to 7 inch screens up to like 1024 by 768 graphics, and communications applications like gateways and data concentrators, home appliance with or without HMI like thermostats, HVAC, security and room control units, home and building gateway applications that integrate multiple communications protocols. White goods with HMI. So again, small, low cost displays for white goods with or without touch. Smart power distribution units, payment terminals, which we talked about, industrial medical control panels, again, long-term support, low to medium range touch types of applications, displays, 2D barcode scanners, thermal label printers, access control with biometrics. We have parallel camera inputs on basically all of our processors, MIPI camera inputs on an ARM926 as well as a Cortex A7 based device. Audio amplifiers and conferencing equipments. Again, the SAM A7G54 has a lot of nice audio capabilities. The other product families have an onboard audio amplifier, Class D audio amplifier, which simplifies the output stage for, to the speakers. Vision control for robotics, and then also low-end ATV, e-bike, motorcycle clusters, or e-mirror types of applications. And then telematics gateways types of applications. And then EV charging primarily for the HMI or a display with control and communications, back-end communications for the EV charging, primarily for the level 2 and some of the lower end level 3 types of EV charging solutions. So we've talked quite a bit about graphics, both on the previous slide with the applications that we're designed into, as well as the capabilities of the products. So across the board, I mean, we have support for RGB, MIPI, DSI, and LVDS display interface on some of the newer products. We also have included both within Microchip and within some of the microprocessor products, multimedia support and touch support available. There's free optimized GUI development software, again, for either bare metal or RTOS-based designs or embedded Linux. So we're focused on providing products with the graphics applications with a reduced BOM cost. We can operate in about half the memory of some of the third-party graphics tools need to run. Fast boot for fast-on applications like an automotive cluster, ATV cluster, motorcycle clusters that we talked about before. In fact, we have Linux boot times down less than 2.5 seconds from a cold reset for a couple of customers. And then our GUI development is optimized for the Microchip NPU hardware, meaning that we don't require costly high-power graphics IP, which may in some cases push you up into a higher performing microprocessor than you actually need. So on the GUI development software side, which we alluded to before, but we have MPLAB Harmony Graphics Suite for RTOS or bare metal based designs. MPLAB Harmony Graphics Suite is tightly integrated into the MPLAB ecosystem and works under the MPLAB X IDE, so it's tightly coupled with that. You don't have to worry about the integration issues for a third-party tool. Can save quite a lot of development time eliminating that step. There's also tools on board to help you with custom display drivers. Maybe you have an oddball display, so you can create a display driver tailored to your display without having to actually write the code for that driver. And then we provide the scalable support from microcontrollers all the way up into microprocessor space. In fact, we've had designs converted by customers in both and as well as our applications team porting over demos from a microcontroller to a microprocessor in a matter of hours. On the Linux side, so Ensemble Graphics Toolkit was a toolkit developed and introduced by Microchip a couple of years ago. It's optimized to support the graphical features of our microprocessors, and it's geared to run on lower memory footprint and lower performance requirements, yet maintain the same high level of graphics or that you'd come to expect from a product. And then again, fast boot, 2.5 seconds from a cold reset. As far as look and feel, I mean, it has a very familiar API or familiar look and feel to some of the third-party tools, so the learning curve is relatively low for moving designs over to Ensemble Graphics Toolkit, and it's fully integrated into our Linux distributions today. So if you're looking for a high-performing graphics, we can provide a high-performing graphics with a lower BOM cost on smaller memories, on lower power, and ultimately lower cost microprocessors. Your screens or scenes together has never been easier on Microchip's tools. So we have a new tool called Microchip Graphics Composer. So it provides you a rapid development tool for the actual screens themselves. So you get a what you see is what you get kind of GUI design tool support for RTOS and Linux-based designs. So you open up Microchip Graphics Composer. It's a plugin for MPLAB for the MPLAB X tool suite. So you can select two choices. You have a kind of a what you see is what you get, a rapid design tool for either MPLAB Harmony Graphics Suite or Ensemble Graphics Toolkit. So it allows you to get up and running relatively quickly and creating some basic screens and getting the right look and feel for the UI that you're developing. So I can't leave you without telling you a little bit about the rest of Microchip's portfolio. So Microchip has around 30 or so different business units that actually provide products, many of which fit very well alongside our microcontrollers, microprocessors, or FPGAs, which were acquired through another acquisition a few years ago. But we have a big range of analog power components from an optimized power management solution that matches up very, very well with our microprocessors, to interconnect products, whether it be Ethernet, PHYs, switches, USB controllers, USB hubs, switches, Wi-Fi products, Bluetooth products, sub-gigahertz wireless products, all come from other various microchip product divisions. Then we have a large analog group that does mixed signal products, ADCs, filters, precision voltage reference products, memory products as well, serial flash, E-squared. So then we have security authentication IC devices as well, also many of which from the Atmel acquisition. So lots of products that are that fit very well around the microcontroller, microprocessors, or FPGAs from Microchip. So I'll leave you a little bit with more just a summary of why our customers are designing our MPUs into their systems. It all comes down to basically their great long-term hardware and software support, ease of use, and allowing clients to get designs into production that much sooner with SIPs and SOMs, and to simplify and reduce the PCB cost, get products to market faster, lower the overall design risk, fully integrated security. Again, products that we've been shipping into the point of sale market for years. I mean, those same security features apply to any market, and they're available for basically free on our products. Market leading low power consumption, and then tons of other Microchip products that fit very, very well around our microprocessors to provide a complete system solution for your next project. So I hope this information was helpful. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great day.
É isso aí, pessoal. Vamos continuar, então, a nossa apresentação aqui em português. Deixa eu chamar para a sala o Rogério. Rogério? Só um instantinho, pessoal. Aí sim. Só um instantinho. Pessoal, então, essa foi a apresentação do Brian, né? Ele fez a apresentação em inglês e a gente vai rodar perguntas e respostas daqui a pouquinho, tá? No final da apresentação, tá bom? Eu vou passar a palavra agora para o Rogério, que vai continuar a apresentação aqui para vocês, mas em 5 minutos a gente volta aí para as perguntas e respostas. Vamos nessa.
Certo, pessoal. Só para avisar, a Artimar tem um serviço de suporte. Você pode entrar em contato, abrir um ticket. Pode ser relacionado ao microprocessador da Microchip, ou também pode ser outros produtos do portfólio da Microchip, ou Kemet, Yagyu, Crico, iCraft. Aqui também destacar que vários produtos, microprocessadores que foram discutidos no treinamento, temos kits de desenvolvimento que vocês podem utilizar, adquirir através da Microchip Direct para auxiliar no desenvolvimento do seu projeto. Aqui é um exemplo do SAM 9X60 para aplicações mais baixo custo, menor consumo de energia. Aqui também é outro exemplo do SOM 9X60 Curiosity Board para avaliação dos microprocessadores SOM 9X60. Também temos um kit de desenvolvimento SAM A7G5 para avaliação do microprocessador SAM A7G54. E também do SAM 9X75. Esses são os kits de desenvolvimento, são os últimos lançados pela Microchip. E aqui é o serviço de suporte. Você pode abrir o ticket e descrever a sua dúvida técnica e através do seu e-mail você vai receber um certo retorno da Artimar. É isso. Eu acho que agora podemos começar com as dúvidas com o Brian.
Muito obrigado, Rogério. I'm going to ask Brian to come to the room. Vou pedir o Brian para vir para a sala com a gente. Então, pessoal, vou fazer as perguntas, tá, em inglês, baseado nas perguntas em português aqui de vocês, tá bom? Podem mandar perguntas em português e pergunta em inglês que eu traduzo aqui, tá bom? Brian, so thank you very much for the presentation. We have some questions here. One from José Paulo is the following question. What Linux distro does Microchip support in their MCU and MPUs?
So the Linux distributions, they are Linux for SAM website, which I was talking about, has downloadable SD card images, and support for the main build systems are OpenWRT, Yocto, and Buildroot.
Ok, so, pessoal, tenha o site Linux for SAM, que ele deixou aí para vocês, a gente vai compartilhar a apresentação depois. Ele disse que, então, tem suporte a OpenWRT, Yocto Project. What's the third one?
Buildroot.
U-Boot.
Buildroot.
Buildroot, Yocto Project e OpenWRT, pessoal. Então, obrigado, José Paulo. Thank you very much. Deixa eu ver se tem alguma outra pergunta aqui. A Artimar vende baixas quantidades para estudo e protótipo? I'm going to ask this question to Rogério. Rogério, come to the room, please. Vem para a sala, por favor. O José Paulo perguntou sobre baixas quantidades. Ele gostaria de fazer um teste. Como que funciona?
Então, a compra é através dos distribuidores oficiais. Vocês podem utilizar a Microchip Direct, se é uma pequena quantidade. Fazer a aquisição dessas amostras para o seu projeto e também dos kits de desenvolvimento.
Obrigado, Rogério. Thanks. Vamos lá, próxima pergunta. The first question is for Brian. Brian, does the Microchip have asymmetric core processors?
We do not. We have them on our roadmap, but we are a couple of years away.
Thank you very much. Fábio, a resposta do Brian foi a seguinte. Você perguntou se a Microchip tinha core assimétricos, né? Processadores com cores assimétricos. Para quem não conhece, né, pessoal, é um processador que é maior, um processador que é menor e tem uma interface de comunicação entre eles. O Brian disse que está no roadmap. Não tem disponível ainda. Tá joia? Deixa eu ver se tem mais alguma pergunta aqui. Se eu passei por todas. O Brian, Javier said that the availability it's the main point to the microprocessors, MPU and MCUs. So, can you comment about availability of this MPU 32?
So, the last couple of years have been very difficult, as you know. But actually, the couple of the products, the SAM 9X60 and the SAM A7G54, our newest products, are running around 22 to 24 weeks. But everything, as far as the microprocessors are concerned, are in the 26-week lead time frame.
Obrigado. Thank you, Brian. Obrigado. Brian, o Brian disse que a gente teve uns períodos muito difíceis, né? Mas está voltando aí a regularizar, pessoal. Então, teve uma pergunta aqui no chat sobre o Masters. Quando que vai acontecer o Masters Brasil? Pessoal, eu pedi aqui para a Mariana da Artimar responder para vocês aí no chat, mas eu vou passar a palavra também para o Rogério. Rogério.
Então, dessa parte da Microchip Masters, a pessoa mais recomendada para informar é a Mariana.
Tá, joia. A Mariana, ela vai responder aqui no chat, pessoal. Daqui a pouco eu falo para vocês o que ela respondeu aqui, tá bom? Ela tá online aí com a gente. So, I'm going to So we are going to finish the webinar, Brian. But first, I'm going. I have to say that it's an honor to receive you here. We hope you come to Brazil for a presential event. Okay. So I hope we see you soon.
Okay.
Now you can say goodbye to Brazil, please.
Okay. Thank you very much for your time, and hopefully I'll have an opportunity to meet some of you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Rogério? Rogério, então é a sua vez agora de despedir aí para o pessoal. E depois eu falo sobre o Masters aqui, tá? E outros recados aqui para o pessoal. Vamos lá, Rogério. Rogério, abre seu microfone. Vamos lá. Obrigado pelo seu tempo, tá?
Certo. Eu queria agradecer a participação de todos, pelo interesse, por esse treinamento. É só lembrar novamente que vocês tiveram uma dúvida, por favor, entre em contato com a Artimar, tanto pelo serviço de suporte ou pelo telefone, e vocês vão receber um retorno. E também, se tiver necessidades de material de suporte, application notes, recomendações de kit de desenvolvimento, por favor, entre em contato. Também a Microchip fornece treinamentos, né? Podemos compartilhar esses treinamentos da Microchip sobre essa linha de produtos. E é isso. Muito obrigado pela participação de todos.
Muito obrigado, Rogério. Pessoal, então, agradecendo novamente aqui ao Brian, né, que fez essa apresentação exclusiva para a gente. A apresentação que o Rogério preparou também, tá? Deixando todos os links para vocês também. A gente vai compartilhar a apresentação lá na mesma página que vocês fizeram a inscrição no webinar. Gostaria de agradecer a todos pelo tempo de vocês, por ter respondido as perguntas rápidas aqui. Isso aqui ajuda também a gente planejar os novos webinars, tá? Que estão já vindo por aí. Gostaria de convidar vocês a assistirem os webinars que já aconteceram com a Microchip aqui no Embarcados, tá? Os webinars foram os seguintes, pessoal. Então, o ano passado tivemos um webinar sobre Machine Learning, utilizando ferramentas e demo boards da Microchip, com o engenheiro Rodrigo Brito, que é da Microchip também, tá? Tivemos um webinar aí com o Keith e com o Rogério sobre FPGA, qual que é a melhor hora para eu utilizar um FPGA em meu projeto. Foi um webinar bem legal e um webinar que traz todas as ferramentas de desenvolvimento, né? Depois nós tivemos com o Sage um webinar sobre a revolução da Ethernet, um par de cabos. Em seguida, tivemos um sobre PoE, Power over Ethernet, né? Com o Avi e com o Rogério, visando o mercado brasileiro. E não foi só dito sobre dispositivos, foram trazidos também produtos acabados para Power over Ethernet. Então, foi bem legal assim, para entender mais sobre o portfólio da Microchip. Teve o webinar sobre SiC, Silicon Carbide, que é tecnologia, né, utilizada aí, uma tecnologia nova utilizada em MOSFETs e Gate Drivers, né? Essa sobre o carbeto de silício foi com o Rodrigo Brito, também está disponível tanto no embarcados.com.br/webinars, quanto no YouTube do Embarcados, tá? E teve, então, esse webinar agora exclusivo aqui sobre MPU, microprocessadores de 32 bits da Microchip, que vocês acabaram de ver. Se vocês gostaram do vídeo lá no YouTube, né, se vocês costumam navegar pelo YouTube, lá nos vídeos que já estão gravados, deixa o like, comenta lá, e a gente vê também todos os comentários, tá? E se vocês tiverem dúvida, entre em contato aqui com o suporte da Artimar. Beleza, pessoal? Então, só um instantinho. Deixa eu ver se falta mais alguma coisa. Aqui, há um e-mail de algum profissional do suporte da Artimar que posso mandar. A gente aconselha você entrar aqui pelo Artimar Suporte. Lá na Artimar também tem um formulário, viu, Xavier? Você manda sua pergunta lá que o pessoal logo em seguida já responde para você, tá? E é isso aí, pessoal. Então, deixa eu ver aqui. Só um instantinho. Deixa eu ver se o Rogério está na sala. Rogério, está aí na sala ainda?
Estou na sala, Thiago.
Tá, joia. Rogério, deixa um e-mail aqui para o Xavier entrar em contato com a Artimar aí de atendimento, pode ser?
Sim.
Aí, ó, artimar.com.br/contato. O Fábio deixou aqui. É isso, certo? Lá tem um formulário, né?
Sim.
Então tá, joia. Xavier, manda a sua dúvida lá nesse local, nesse formulário, que o pessoal entre em contato contigo logo em seguida. Beleza? Obrigado, Rogério. Obrigado, pessoal. Então é artimar.com.br/contato. Tá, joia? Então até o próximo webinar. É isso aí. Tá? A gente se vê, então, no próximo webinar ou na próxima live. Tchau, pessoal.
Tchau, tchau.